Lexus has been in India for about 18 months now and has launched a wide variety of cars, from its SUVs to its sedan flagships like the LX and LS. And now, just a little over a year after launching the ES in India, here is a brand new one. And no, this isn't just a facelift and an update. This car really is brand new. A new platform, a new look, and more importantly, more space in the new interior. So let's take a closer look. Now, if you think that the ES is inspired by the LS in terms of design, you're actually quite correct, and even the Lexus engineers admit to that, because they do want to head towards a more family-oriented look like Audi, BMW and Mercedes have been doing. And as with most Lexuses, Lexi or however you want to pronounce that, everything sort of converges into one point. So you've got a whole bunch of slashes and cuts and lines, and everything sort of tends to come towards this Lexus logo in the middle. Now, does it work? Well, design is personal. Some people like it, some people don't. I do think it's just a tad bit over designed. There are just too many things happening. And of course, the spindle grille, this new iconic grille that Lexus has been putting on all its cars, it has grown much larger from the old one, and now it even has two little horns on the top here, of course chrome festoon. But everything is really well put together in terms of fit and finish. The lines are absolutely phenomenal. The quality of everything is just absolutely great. And now you do get these triple LED lights, again inspired by the LS. There are of course other details that I do love on the car, and one of those, and I really must mention this in the review, is the fact that this thing gets 18-inch wheels, which are not very well designed, or the design might not be too modern, but the finish, now that is absolutely mind-blowing. In fact, Lexus does the best wheel finishes from any manufacturer in the world, and these wheels aren't just cool, they also have a technology that actually reduces the amount of noise they make, and they pull in cold air and they sort of push out warm air too. The other thing about the car is, of course, the fact that it does have a sloping roof line. Now, it might be a 3-box sedan in its conventional sort of form, but it does have this very, very cool sloping roof line, which makes it very coupe-like. And so we come to the rear of the car. Now, the rear is where the big design changes versus the last generation are. Of course, there are some in the front too, which are very obvious, but the rear is completely different, completely new generation Lexus. Now, again, like the front, it's a little over-designed, and this spoiler, in my opinion, just looks a little out of place. It should have had maybe a lip in the boot lid itself, but just look at the number of sort of steps it has, if you count. That's one, the spoiler. There's another one here, another one in the chrome accent piece, another one in the tail lamp, goes back inside. It's just too much. It's a little too busy in my opinion, but again, fit and finish. Lexus gets that so right. The paint quality is just so perfect. And to be honest, it's not a bad looking car if you take the whole sort of package together. But again, design is something that is a little personal. It does definitely have a lot of street presence though. So now that we've had that closer look at the design on the new ES, let's quickly talk about how it is placed and what it goes up against. The ES globally has moved upward in the Lexus range. Where it originally was a C-Class and 3 Series rival, Lexus has now moved it up a notch, and it takes on the likes of the E-Class, 5 Series and the Jaguar XF. And if that's the segment it wants to play in, how it feels inside is more important than how it looks outside. Now, just like with every other car the Lexus makes, the interior of the ES is a symphony of really well put together leather, which is all of course soft touch, and attention to detail that actually just bewilders people in terms of the stitching, for example. But there are again pieces here, to be fair, which are not up to the mark. For example, the plastics here are a little scratchy, and again on the door, sort of the lower half of the door, they're just not perfect not meant to fit in with the rest of the car. What you do have, of course, is the new Lexus design in terms of the general dashboard orientation. So you have the stepped sort of layered design on the dashboard, and you have the big infotainment screen, which is sort of on the same level as your instrument cluster. So you really don't have to move around a lot when you actually want to see something on the navigation or on the radio. That said, just like with the LS and just like with every other car they make, the infotainment user interface and just the little touchpad controller that you have here is just not good enough for this segment. In fact, it's just not good enough in general. I just can't seem to get used to it. It's just not intuitive enough to use. I personally just think a normal knob or a touchscreen would have been more than enough to actually control it. This direction is something Lexus definitely needs to go away from. What is remarkable about the interior, apart from the sheer quality though, is the NVH level. When you do get moving, you can barely hear a hum, as Lexus has used a huge amount of sound deadening all around the car, including the car's floorboards. And a quiet ride is not just comfortable for passengers, it also reduces fatigue for the driver. Now you do rarely find me in the back seat because of course I do prefer the driver's seat there. But considering the fact that the ES is suited for an audience that does spend most of its time in the back, it's only fair to get back here and to see how the good life feels. Now it does come with a chauffeur package, so you do press a little button on the side of the front left seat and it does move ahead, giving you a whole bunch of space. There's enough space to play a game of football here, and you also get a whole bunch of other little bits and pieces. So for example, the ES gets a backrest that actually reclines. Now on paper it's just 8 degrees, but 8 degrees does make a huge difference when you just want to lay back after a tiring day at work and just want to go home in that traffic-filled fun. You also get a whole bunch of other controls like heated seats, for example. You get controls for the infotainment system and a little control to put down the blinds or to put it up if you so desire. Manual blinds on the side, but just in general, everything is great quality. Everything feels nice and soft to touch. And again, it's a comfort-based car. Everything in the back here just screams easy comfort. But as with every car, the driver's seat is oh so tempting, and it was only a matter of time where I gave up the sahib duties of sitting comfortably at the back and took over the wheel myself. Now just like with the last generation ES, which was called the ES300h, which means it was available only with a hybrid powertrain in India, Lexus has continued the trend, and this of course is still badged the 300h and is again only available as a hybrid. Now it's the same motor, it's a 2-litre petrol engine, 4-cylinder up front, naturally aspirated, and with the combination of the electric batteries and the electric motor, the engine makes 215 horsepower, which is 15 more than the last generation, and makes 221 Newton meters of torque. Now let me get straight to the point. This is not a performance car. It does 0 to 100 in about 8 seconds or so, which makes it, well, quite slow for its price point, and it definitely doesn't like being driven fast. It doesn't like it when you put the pedal to the metal. It is for somebody who wants a comfortable car over performance in terms of what they really want from their luxury car. In terms of comfort though, it is great because it is a new platform. It's got a whole new suspension setup. It's got double wishbones in the front, which makes it a lot more comfortable. A new set of dampers. In general, just very comfortable to drive and to be driven in. The Lexus ES in its new avatar has really grown up by a lot. It is more mature, and dare we say it, at rupees 59,13,000 rupees, ex-showroom Delhi, it really now is a lot of value for money too. And even if as a luxury car buyer fuel efficiency does matter, the ES gives a whopping 22.37 kilometers per litre, by far the highest in its class. While it does have less space than an E-Class and it doesn't drive as well as the 5 Series does, it does have distinct road presence as an advantage going for it. The ES then, like most Lexus models in India, are for the slightly eccentric buyer who wants something that stands out, although not so obnoxiously so. It isn't fast, it isn't powerful, but it sure is extremely comfortable. And that is a reason you certainly should consider it over the standard Germans.